Oh, man. Do you think you ever get your trading to a point where you're truly happy with the gains that you made? Because today I woke up and I saw that Nasdaq, after I had got off the charts, ripped like another 1,000 ticks. And it was probably one of the cleanest moves I have seen in a long time. And I caught about this much of the fucking move. Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube video. So today I want to break down the trade that I took on Nasdaq and how you guys could have caught this absolutely incredible run by following the Nasdaq Ninja strategy, which I'll pop up here somewhere, either here or here, I don't know. Because yeah, Nasdaq had a phenomenal run. Now, obviously, I'm here in Australia, so I typically stay up till maybe like 1:30 a.m., 2 max, if I don't get a trade in the London session. If I get a trade in London, then, you know, US can do whatever it wants. But, you know, moving into futures, I am kind of diving more into trading Nasdaq about 15 minutes after New York opened. And so far, I've been having incredible results. And I've actually been, documenting the entire journey as well. So I've been putting in, you know, printing out screenshots, if you guys can see that, and writing lots of notes, which is... yeah, fun. Well, the Nasdaq and S&P move very, very clean. Obviously, if I'm trading Nasdaq, I have to watch the S&P just because they correlate so well. And the correlation between this move yesterday is why I'm not happy with the fact that I did make $800, but I could have made like over 5,000. We're going to break it down here. So I gave this level into the community of the S&P of 4546.5 and the S&P. So if you guys look here, you know, we have the low here of 145. The exact same low here, 145. Now you've got these highs here. Got this high here. You have this previous daily high there. You have this previous daily high there, which hadn't been grabbed on either. So coming into today's session, I was very much keen on continuing the overall bullish uptrend. Now, I would assume a lot of people were trying to short the market yesterday. You know, you had this kind of little dip down, pre-market. But for me, if we haven't liquidated any daily highs, then there's no reason for me to want to jump in short. So essentially, I'm buying back up into that daily high and back up into the overall trend. The old school saying, trend is friend. And if you continue to follow that and you can continue that momentum and you come into each session, you know, price is bullish. Today, I'm only going to go long. You're going to have a much better win rate. Obviously, you may see some short setups. You may make a little bit of money, but the plan is to be following the overall momentum. Now, I was basically saying in the Discord, you know, and this is our strategy, as the Nasdaq creates new lows, the S&P doesn't need to. And if the S&P doesn't need to, then that's what you want to be buying, and vice versa. If the S&P is creating a new low, but Nasdaq's holding up well, amazing, you can buy the Nasdaq. So if you look at this low here, so these are the exact same lows. So as price wicked all the way back down at the open yesterday, the S&P failed to liquidate these lows here. However, on the Nasdaq, we were actually creating new lows. And I was basically saying, you know, as the Nasdaq's creating new lows, the S&P is breaking new highs and the Nasdaq is lagging massively behind. So I'm pretty much very confident in my plan and strategy that if the Nasdaq's lagging behind that much, I want to be buying into that, and I want to be buying that back up into these daily highs until, you know, if the S&P had grabbed this daily high and we were showing signs of bearish momentum, then I probably wouldn't be buying the Nasdaq. But me buying up into these daily highs was the overall plan going into yesterday. Now, as our plan stands, whichever indice isn't grabbing the previous low, that is ideally the one that you want to be buying because you get much better stop loss placement. So essentially, you know, as the Nasdaq's breaking these lows and as the S&P is respecting these lows, this is the level that we gave in the community, you could have literally been buying the S&P at that very key support with stops below that low. It's a very tight stop loss, but it's more importantly, very valid. Because if we had broken that low and both the Nasdaq and the S&P had created new lows, then you probably would have seen this roll over. But the fact that the S&P respected that previous low, Nasdaq broke it, amazing. I should have been buying the S&P. But for whatever reason, I was fixated on the Nasdaq and I missed that insane run, the S&P, and it was so much cleaner than Nasdaq. And I kind of got chopped up on Nasdaq. So I was buying into Nasdaq from around these regions, which was at like, you know, 240. If you look at 240 on the S&P was already, you know, bouncing up and creating new highs. And I was like, Nasdaq, follow the S&P, even though, you know, in my mind I should have just been trading the S&P. But yeah, I was essentially buying the Nasdaq, looking for this big play up because it was lagging behind so high. And if you look at this 245 candle in the S&P, 245 here on the Nasdaq. So when the S&P was creating new highs, the Nasdaq was still lagging all the way back below this previous support and resistance. And this is basically where I was saying to everyone in the community, I believe this is a retail trap and this is a false level of resistance and everyone's trying to short this market. The reason I wasn't jumping in shorts, I knew the S&P was creating new highs and it was a matter of time before the Nasdaq was going to follow suit. So I actually did take some shorts for a very, very small hedge position. Now, I took some shorts here so I could load up more longs here, risk-free. You know, I made about maybe $300 on this little play. And then because I had that anchor, it was allowing me to add more to my max daily loss. And then as price was coming down here, I bought here and I covered up here. Now, the reason I covered up here is because price started to go bearish, doji, bullish, doji, doji, doji. So for me, this is at like, 1:30 a.m. And by this time, I'm starting to get a little bit fatigued. And I know that my mental capacity isn't in it as much as it is in like maybe the first hour of the New York Open. So as price was doing this, I was like, cool, let me just cut the position. It was a very nice position. I still made like $800 in the day. I'm not complaining by any means. But to wake up and you see that price literally had this range, we broke out, came back down, retested, broke out that resistance and absolutely run. I was like, you motherfucker, I'm gonna get you back. I'm joking, I'm not. I may, coming into today's session, I may actually trade smaller size because the FOMO is real. And I don't want to trade off my emotions because this was just an absolutely incredible run. Look at that. Once price actually finally broke this range, it was non-stop, absolutely non-stop. So in fact, the S&P was actually much cleaner yesterday. And this is why it's super important for you guys who are maybe just getting into, futures, Nasdaq, S&P, Dow, whatever it may be, to be watching more than one. If you limit yourself just to Nasdaq or just to S&P, then you're going to miss out on much cleaner opportunities. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes the S&P could be messy, but the Nasdaq could be clean. The way that you want to be trading it is you want to be analyzing and adapting to whichever one is either liquidating the lows or moving in nicer price action. And for me yesterday, that was in the S&P, but for some reason, there was like a mental barrier that just stopped me getting into the S&P when actually it would have been a beautiful position. So I just wanted to jump on and kind of break that down for you guys, show you a little bit of the Nasdaq strategy and the levels that I shared in the community, and more so the fact that, whatever level you get to in your trading career, you will never become a perfect trader. And there's no such thing as becoming a perfect trader. Trading is all about, being adaptive, learning, testing yourself, testing your ability, and that's either the reason you either love trading or hate it. You will never get to a point where your trading is just perfect every single day, and hopefully you don't have to face the pain of waking up and missing like 90% of the move that you wanted to take. But hey, we live and we learn. That's all part of the game, all part of the fun. We still came out green on the day, so I can't really complain. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. Remember, we go live on YouTube every Tuesday to Friday, so I hope to see you guys in the stream.